So if you guys resonate with any of these energies, please go ahead and drop down your Lilith archetype that you resonate with, as well as one of the 4 divine feminine, dark divine feminine goddesses that you resonate with. All right, now let's go ahead and get into these dark feminine goddesses. Peace, and ascension. How y'all living today? I am Monica, and this is Muse by Monica. On this channel, we are all about alchemizing our pain into power, transforming our shadows into light. If this is your first time seeing me, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. We have a very special video for today. So, alright y'all, so first up we have Goddess Sekhmet, one of my favorites. Honestly, I already have Bast here. I want to get Wajet, Sekhmet here. I want to get Sekhmet up here. I want to get all the cats, honestly. I want to get Wajet is Serpent Goddess here though. I want to get all of the mother deities here, but that's another topic for another day. So Sekhmet, one of my favorites. She is also known as the Eye of Ra, as she is the one of the daughters of the sun god Ra. If you guys see me looking over, I'm going to be reading some notes as always, okay? She is the goddess of wrath, healing, and solar fire, all right? So again, her element, in her element, she is very strongly represented by the fire element, by fire essence. She is the sacral center, the solar center, or the solar chakra, the solar plexus, solar melanin cluster. Sekhmet, the daughter of Ra, was created as his vengeance, all right? So Sekhmet was created to punish humanity for their rebellion. She transformed into a lioness. And if you know anything about the lioness, she is one of the top protectors of the pride. She is very vicious, very fearful, unhinged, okay, a little bit. When it comes to protecting those seeds, she is a very powerful force to reckon with here, okay? When you are in your dark feminine energy, when you are in our dark feminine shadow aspect, you are usually channeling rage. There is something that is causing you to rage, or as the kids like to say, crash out, all right? Sekhmet was the crash out queen, all right? So in her creation, as her father Ra allowed her to seek vengeance over humanity for their rebellion, she went on a rampage, so fierce, so fiery, on a fiery massacre. She was ultimately very bloodthirsty, all right? So much so that even after everything settled, she was still on a quest, all right, threatening all of life, almost to a point where it was uncontrollable. She couldn't tame or bring back in that rage, that fire, that passion, okay? So in order to stop her, her father Ra tricked her into drinking some blood, but when she drank it, it was actually something that intoxicated her and calmed her down, all right? She is also, like I said, very much known as a healer, as the healer archetype and the protector near Mayat, working with Mayat when it comes to truth and justice. So, like I said before, Sekhmet's a very strong shadow or a dark feminine archetype because she was the archetype where she burnt away corruption or diseased thinking or corrupt thinking. She was the soul center. She was the heart center of her father Ra. Sekhmet was the energy or the personification of cleansing, all right? Cleansing what no longer served cosmic order, cleansing what was no longer divine justice or divine truth. Sekhmet was the energy to restore what was left through medicine and divine balance. She was what was needed in order to bring back divine balance. So, co-creators, if you find yourself in the energy of Sekhmet, if you find yourself wanting to invoke the energy of Sekhmet, in order for you to integrate this energy into your aura, into your essence, you need to embrace sacred anger, all right? Channel righteous anger to dismantle injustice. So usually Sekhmet, like I said, is invoked. She is an inner goddess that comes out when you are feeling rage, when you have been pushed to a point where you felt like divine truth, divine order, or divine justice is out of balance. She gets ensued, she gets enraged when your boundaries have been crossed, when you are stopped healing, when your fire, your passion has started to dwindle, started to go out. She is what sacred anger is about. She is what comes, and she is that force that allows you to get shit done, all right? Where Bas is the mother goddess who is kind of calm. She is more the domesticated. Sekhmet, she's not in the streets. She's out here doing the big thing. She's out here doing a big one, okay? Another way that you can integrate, co-create her, in order to co-create her, all right, in order to channel Sekhmet, you can integrate balance, destruction, and healing, all right? So when you recognize when to destroy old patterns and when to heal, when you channel Sekhmet, you begin to recognize when you need to destroy old patterns, enforce stronger boundaries, and heal. When you know you need to heal, when you've had enough, when you're tired, when you've come to your wit's end, when you can't take no more, when you've had enough, when enough is enough, Sekhmet comes in, whether it's in a relationship, family, friends, a job. When you can no longer take it anymore, when you are trying to release yourself from stagnancy or old patterns, Sekhmet is going to be your shadow friend. Do not be afraid to tap into that shadow energy of anger. A lot of us like to hold, I know personally, I like to hold my tongue when I get angry, or when I see certain injustices, or even when I like to tell somebody about that stuff. I hold my tongue a lot. I hold my anger back a lot. I don't necessarily like confrontation. And that is the part of the shadow part of me who I like to hide, where I like to keep her unseen. I don't like to confrontation. I like to be the angry Black woman, all right? I don't like people get me out of character. You usually don't see an angry Monica unless you really, really push me there, okay? You usually don't see an angry Monica unless she is invoked, unless she's called upon by Father Ra, okay? Because don't just anybody get me into that energy, okay? All right, so again, the best way for you to invoke or integrate Sekhmet is to use your sacred anger as surgical fire to cut away from old narratives, cut away from things that no longer serve you. Get angry about it. Make it piss you off, okay? It has to piss you off. And speak your truth with power. Sekhmet is very much about speaking your truth, all right? Like I was saying, I usually bite my tongue. I usually don't always tell people out of fear of hurting someone else's feeling, or out of fear of them seeing me a certain way or wanting to cut me off because I told the truth, okay? Channel Sekhmet, integrate Sekhmet, all right? You want to channel that fire into activism, writing, or to healing others, all right? On this channel, we are co-creators and we are healers, all right? So if you find that you need to ignite that anger, that power, that Sekhmet, it's for your protection. It's protection for you, for others around you, for your inner child here, okay? Alchemize it. If you find yourself feeling the pain of anger, alchemize that pain as a power. If you find yourself wanting to hide or keep that aspect of you hidden, alchemize it. Alchemize it, all right? Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Speak your truth, even if it hurts someone's feelings, all right? And create from a space of sacred rage. Let your fire clear the lies, okay? Now, I'm going to have a couple shadow prompts for you guys. What parts, I want you guys to journal. I'm going to give you guys journal prompts for each of these goddesses. And as you guys continue to work with these, you can ask yourselves deeper questions with them, okay? So, what parts of you have you silenced because they were too much? And what are you ready to burn away to come back into alignment? I will also leave some questions, some shadow question prompts for you guys. Check out the link below if you guys want to do further shadow work questions. All right, so next we have Nephthys, all right? Nephthys, also known as Lady of the Temple. She was known as the guardian of the dead and the unseen. All right, a little bit about her mythology or her origin. She was the sister to Isis, or as the ancient Kemetic name, Set. All right, she is often associated with mourning and the afterlife. Nephthys is the shadow sister of Set and is often very much overlooked. She was there to mourn Osiris or Osar and helped Isis resurrect him. This was their brother, or Set's lover, okay? She rules in the in-between, in the realm in the in-between, the twilight, death, dreams, and endings. She played a very crucial role in the resurrection of Osiris, aiding Set in retrieving and reassembling his body parts. Nephthys is also considered the mother of Anubis, the god of mummification. Another part of her story, Nephthys is like the sister of Set, but was also in love with her brother Asar. She was Nephthys' archetype. Ultimately, if you have ever resonated with having someone choose someone else over you, all right? Nephthys is often the energy of rejection or of being unseen, okay? Being unseen, being left out. If we go deeper into her mythology, we can see the whole story about how she is the rejection. She represents rejection principle and kind of the unseen, but she also very much holds a space for grief, for transition, and for spiritual boundaries. While others, like her sister, often work in the light, Nephthys moved in the unseen realms and worked very much in the shadows. In order for you to embrace this energy, her power and her symbolism revolve around the space between life and death. She is symbolized by the kite bird, often representing mourning in Kemetic or ancient Egyptian mythology, and she is a protector of the deceased, ensuring safe passage into the afterlife. All right, so if you find yourself wanting to integrate this energy and co-create her, all right, integrate Nephthys' energies by honoring your grief. Allow space to mourn and to release. Allow your space to mourn and to release things, people, places that no longer serve you. Integrate Nephthys by embracing the unseen. Trust the process occurring between or beneath the surface. You can also integrate this energy by embracing your grief as something sacred, honoring your cycles of loss as rebirth for your life, and set spiritual boundaries with grace. In order for you to alchemize this pain into power, please make space for loss, rejection, denial. Create altars for your endings and let your softness speak. Allow whatever wants to go. Release it, and you are free from it. A few shadow work questions or shadow work prompts to help ignite this shadow aspect and really get you to dig deeper into yourself. I want you to ask yourself and journal, where have you rushed healing to feel strong again? And what part of me is asking to be mourned, not fixed? All right, so moving on, guys. Next we have Amit. Amit. She is one of my favorites, all right? Amit waits beside my yacht. Lion, hippo, crocodile. 3 of the most fiercest, strongest, most powerful animals in the African, Egyptian mythology, in history. All right, the lion, the hippo, and the crocodile are some of the strongest forces of nature in African Egyptian history. Amit, she is not evil. She is not a demon. She is honest. She stands on truth. When a soul is weighed after death, it is Amit who, with a heavy heart, if the heart is heavy, she consumes it. She eats it. So when you are in the afterlife, when you are going to be judged against the scales of Mayat, against a feather, if your heart, if your soul weighs heavier than a feather, and if it is weighed down by lies and injustice, your soul is devoured. All right, you're not going to hell. You're not going to be punished. It's just an end. There's an end. You don't get to continue on. Your soul, the light of your soul, ceases to exist. All right, this is Amit's truth. She teaches that you cannot lie your way to freedom. She teaches that your heart must be light, not from perfection, but from alignment. All right, so a little bit about Amit, her history, her origin, her mythology. Amit, also known as the devourer of the dead. All right, she is the embodiment of divine justice. Amit is a archetype. She's an archetype, all right, with a body part of a lion, a hippopotamus, and a crocodile. In the Hall of Mayat, she devours the heart of those who are deemed unworthy, preventing them from entering the afterlife. She holds you accountable to soul truth. Soul truth. All right, there's a lot of people out here walking around without a soul because they are lying to themselves and to others. All right. And with the energy, the shadow energy of Amit, love her. She punishes. She doesn't punish. She just purifies. All right. If you lie to yourself, you cannot pass. All right. So Amit is basically accountability. Amit is the personification of accountability. And a lot of you guys like to keep that hidden. A lot of us like to keep that hidden, that shadow aspect of ourselves hidden. All right, we don't like to hold ourselves accountable as well as others accountable. It's so much easier to push the blame and place the blame on everyone else and see everybody else's role in what has happened in life, the injustices that you have caused, all right, or at least been a part of. Amit is here to represent the consequences. All right. What comes of the living when your life is out of balance? All right. She also embodies the finality, the finito. You finish the end, no coming back. You're done. Okay. the finality of judgments, and the importance of truth and of honoring truth. All right, standing on righteousness and the truth. Amit serves as a deterrent against wrongdoing. All right. So if ever you feel like you're doing something in the wrong, if ever you feel like your heart is too heavy, remember that Amit is here. All right. A lot of us may or may not believe in soul reincarnation. If you are lucky enough to reincarnate, all right, Amit is in the hall, judging, seeing, watching. All right, so in order for us to alchemize the shadow aspect, all right, into power, we're going to need to practice radical self-honesty. Honestly, just being honest with yourself, being honest with yourself and with others. This is something where you are going to need to check in daily. All right, am I living my values or am I performing them? Am I standing in my truth or am I just entertaining them? All right. I want you to really stand in your truth, really stand in your honesty, who you are to self, who you are to yourself. All right. Some prompts to activate this shadow work, to allow you to dig deeper into this shadow work. All right. I want you to ask yourself, meditate, write on, where are you pretending? Where are you pretending to be healed when you're still hurting? All right, let me ask that again. Where are you pretending to be healed when you are still hurting? What truths are you avoiding because you're afraid they'll change everything? Right. Gotta keep up with you new agers. Yes. All right. So those are very strong questions. Very, very, very strong questions. All right. So ask yourself those deep questions. All right. And like I said, I'm going to give you guys more shadow questions in the link below. All right. And then the final goddess, the final dark feminine goddess that we have is going to be Oya. All right. We've talked about Nephthys and Amit, and who do we talk about? Sekhmet, who are all Kemetic deities. And now we're going to talk about Oya, who is a Yoruba or a West African deity. Okay, she is not in the pantheon of the other feminine goddesses, but her energy is just as powerful. And if you resonate with them, you may resonate with her as well. Okay. So Oya, I love her power too. I love me a good thunderstorm. I love when a good thunderstorm or tornadoes, high winds, high power, how that energy comes in and dismantles, tears some shit down. I love it. I love the darkness of the storms. All right, how it just kind of creeps in, and you know it's coming. You hear it's coming. All right. I love this shadow energy. So Oya, also known as the mother of nine. All right, and if you are divine Summer 9, all right, you may resonate with her energy. Okay, or she is an Orisha of storms, change, and cemetery. Okay, so Oya is a powerful Orisha associated with winds, storms, and transformation. She is the wife of Shango, the god of thunder, and is known for her fierce independence and strength. Oya governs the Niger River and is revered as a warrior goddess who brings change and upheaval. Oya sweeps through like a storm, clearing the path. She forces evolution and protects the dead. Her voice is the wind, presence, thunder. Like I said, I love Oya energy. She comes in swift and calm, and she does have a counterpart, all right? So Oya is the winds, the storms, the rain, all right? The destruction, while her counterpart, Shango, is the thunder, all right? So after you hear the lightning, after you see the lightning, or you see the storms, you hear the winds, you feel the winds, you hear Shango. You hear Shango to know how close how close Oya really is, all right? So kind of giving me this energy where Shango is beating the drums, letting you know that his wife is coming, all right? His wife is entering the room, you feel me? She's coming in. She's coming in real strong, real forceful, with a beat, all right? With a vengeance, with some change. She's about to shake some shit up, all right? So please don't be afraid to integrate this power. Her power and her symbolism embodies transformation through storms. She's the guardian of the cemetery or the or the dead, overseeing the transition between life and death. She symbolizes the necessity of change and growth, all right? If you want to grow, you need to change, all right? If you want to alchemize, you need to change, all right? So co-create her. In order to co-create her, in order for you to integrate this energy and integrate this essence, embrace change. Welcome transformation into your life as a path of evolution. Harness your inner strength. Stand firm amidst life storms. When towers come in, when those heavy storms and winds come and they shake things up and they tear things down and cause you to look at, reevaluate what it was that the foundation was sitting on. That's Oya energy. That's the shadow aspect that is coming up, that is being ignited within you. When you are wanting to grow, when you are wanting to ascend here, these storms come through. This is not, y'all may not believe me, okay? But as a collective, when these storms, when these strange winds and such come in out of the blue, when you as a co-creator, a diviner, a healer, a vessel, when as a collective, when we, when the dark feminine collective feels an energy collectively, it can be represented in nature. And I love when Oya does this, because Oya often shows up for the dark feminine collective when there is a collective of women who are feeling a certain urge or a push, even a sadness, a push or a sadness of change and growth and evolution. Oya is going to show up. Oya is going to show up in multiple cities, in multiple states, countries at the same time for the feminine here, okay? She's going to show up in different ways, but her hand is going to move through the whole collective, okay? Believe me or not. Believe me if you want to, okay? So in order to integrate her energy, embrace necessary endings. Things are going to need to end, all right, for change. And now she wants you to work with your ancestors during these transitions, all right? When you're going through transitions, your ancestors are calling you. I also want you guys to honor chaos as sacred movement, not punishment. All right, guys, let's wrap this up because the little babies need my attention. All right, so in order for you guys to alchemize this energy, let the winds carry away what no longer serves you, what you no longer wish to hold. Call on your ancestors during these transitions because you're not alone. Your ancestors are going to always be with you. These energies, these archetypes are going to always be with you. These shadow elements are within you. All right? And like I said, this is not something that you are trying to do. It's something that you are trying to, this isn't something that you're trying to create. This is something that is already within you, something that you can already ignite. All right? So, some prompts. All right, guys. So, a couple of prompts to help you guys integrate this shadow energy. What storms have you been trying to outrun that's actually your transition? I'm sorry, your initiation. Just had to run up and down the steps, y'all. I'm a lot of breath. But we hear Oya and Shango out there, okay? What storms have you been trying to outrun that are actually your initiation? All right, so you're being initiated. You are being called into this energy. When initiations hit you guys, it's the most beautiful thing. That's absolutely the most beautiful thing, when you're realizing that your ancestors, your angels, your spirit team, these archetypes, these goddesses, gods, goddesses are speaking to you. It's the most beautiful thing. And it really is an initiation into alchemizing, to alchemy, to turning your pain into power. Because once you really start to work with these energies, a lot of things change for you. A lot of things can shift for you, okay? I also want you to work on this. Another prompt for you guys is what must die for you to finally live? Ooh, that's powerful. Powerful, powerful, powerful. What must die? What parts of you must die for you to finally live? All right, that's so dope. All right, so those are going to be all the energies I have for you guys for this video. These goddesses, again, aren't just stories, right? They are invitations for you to tap into yourself, for you to tap into her. They are here, all right, to burn, to weep, to tell the truth, to rise. All right, so co-creators, which one of these archetypes resonates with you? Which one of these feminine goddess archetypes, dark feminine goddess archetypes, is calling to you? Leave me a comment, write it down in your journal. All right, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe if you guys find that you resonate with anything, the energy of this video. All right, remember that this is your power mirror. This is your soul remembering. So begin here. All right, co-creators, that's all I have for this video. Until next time, peace.